Hey guys, what is going on? It's Joe here filling in for Wrestlelamia. The WWF New Generation, roughly 1993 to 1997, is rightfully lambasted for some terrible gimmicks such as Men on a Mission, The Goon, and Bastion Booger. But it also featured fantastic work from Bret Hart, Scott Hall, and Shawn Michaels. Those weren't the only highlights of that era though. Here are 10 underrated stars from the New Generation era. 1. Flash Funk. Long before Brodus Clay, Charles Skaggs, best known as Too Cold Scorpio, had a penchant for boogieing alongside beautiful women. As Flash Funk, he worked as an amazing high flyer who unfortunately got weighed down with one of the new generation's many mindless gimmicks. Accompanied by his Funkettes, Flash lit up the ring with amazing performances, even though his push was less solid than a post-Ico Pro bowel movement. Funk was a worker you could count on to entertain, despite a goofy outfit and gimmick. Although the WWF eventually let him use his better-known name Too Cold Scorpio, they had little idea how to use him effectively. Thankfully, ECW did, and Scorpio's career there was much better received by fans. Number 2. Radford. Given his small size, Louis Spicolli caught a break and made the jump from jobber to the stars to mid-card act with a possible WWF future as Radford, an apprentice of the image-obsessed team the Body Donnas. Unfortunately for Spicolli, his personal demons killed what could have been a consistent role on Raw, similar to other small men such as Hardcore Holly. Sadly, Spicolli died in 1998 at the young age of 27. Number 3. Mark Mero. Vince McMahon signed Mark Mero to the WWF because he fell in love with Mero's Johnny B. Bad gimmick in WCW. The only problem was, Mero couldn't play Johnny B. Bad as the character belonged to WCW. Mero, a talented wrestler, had trouble adjusting to his new character of Wildman Mark Mero, but in hindsight did a good job, utilizing a combination of boxing and agility to entertain in the ring. Mero's WWF career was sidelined thanks to injury and wife Sable's friction with the WWF. Although it was eclipsed by the incredible breakout success of his wife, Mero's career definitely deserves a second look. Number 4. Adam Bomb. Although Brian Clark avoided complete gimmick meltdown as Bastion Booger and Duke the Dumpster Droese, the concept of a wrestler spawned thanks to the 3 Mile Island nuclear disaster should tell you how low the WWF was scraping the bottom of the gimmick barrel during the New Generation era. Nonetheless, Clark did the best he could with a gimmick that saw him sporting a red tongue and bizarre-looking green contacts. Bomb's finisher, the Atom Smasher, was impressive, hinting at the potential Clark had shown before in the American Wrestling Association and Smoky Mountain Wrestling as the Night Stalker, and would later show in WCW as one half of the tag team Chronic. Number 5. Freddie Joe Floyd. If you're wondering who in the blue hell Freddie Joe Floyd is, how about we tell you his better-known name, Tracy Smothers? Okay, unless you're a fan of Southern Wrestling or ECW, you probably don't know who Tracy Smothers was, let alone Freddie Joe. And that's really a shame because Smothers is one of wrestling's most underrated workers. Arguably best known for his tag teams with Steve Armstrong as the Southern Boys and the Young Pistols, Smothers was a fantastic worker with lightning-like moves such as the super kick and finisher the Jawjacker. He also had a run in ECW as a member of the Full-Blooded Italians, but his WWF run was burdened by his Freddie Joe Floyd character, reportedly a rib on the middle names of WWE Hall of Famers Jack and Jerry Briscoe. Although Freddie worked largely as enhancement talent, his ring skills were undeniable. Number 6. Jean-Pierre Lafitte. If you've watched some of our previous videos, and if you haven't, you're in for a treat, you know Jean-Pierre Lafitte worked in the New Generation era as a member of the tag team The Quebecers, alongside Jacques Rougeau, holding the WWF Tag Team Championship 3 times, although that's a dubious honor considering Bob Holly and the 1-2-3 Kid had it around this time also. Afterwards, he was repackaged as Jean-Pierre Lafitte, the wrestling descendant of Pirate Jean Lafitte. Lafitte enjoyed a healthy singles run including a feud with Bret Hitman Hart that saw Lafitte steal the Excellence of Execution's ring jacket. Hey, it was the WWF, you had to be there. Unfortunately for the would-be pirate, his career ran into stormy weather when the Clique buried him after Lafitte protested WWF champion Kevin Nash's decision to change the finish of their match in Lafitte's hometown of Montreal. Lafitte said no way to a clean pinfall, the original finish was to result in a countout and set up a rematch, and soon found his pirate ship sailing off to WCW. Number 7. Doink the Clown. Yes, we still vomit in our mouths at the thought of Doink and his 3 little clowns battling Jerry the King Lawler and his trio of tiny-sized terrors at Survivor Series. Nonetheless, Matt Bourne's version of Doink the Clown was years ahead of its time, a psychologically dark character who was unusually diabolical for a WWF era known for its more family-friendly approach to wrestling. The WWF had the Doink character play some brutally violent pranks on its babyfaces, and while Doink's first real opponent, Crush, never had a box with a loved one's severed head in it delivered to him, there always seemed to be that potential for Doink to step over the line. Bourne was a skilled technician who worked well in the ring and did a creep-tastic job showing Doink's evil nature, despite the burden of a face full of makeup and a clown outfit. Number 8. Waylon Mercy. Big man Dan Spivey seems like one of wrestling's most wasted talents, none of it having to do with the usual sob stories of personal demons. Instead, Spivey always seemed to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. His gimmick as Eagle in the tag team American Starship alongside Scott Coyote Hall was uninspired, and Spivey had the misfortune of replacing Barry Windham during the WWF's misguided attempt to reform the US Express with Spivey and original member Mike Rotunda. Spivey seemed headed for success in WCW in the tag team The Skyscrapers alongside Sid Vicious, but that team was snake-bitten with Vicious suffering an injury and his replacement Mark Calloway leaving for the WWF. Spivey finally seemed ready for success when he debuted in the WWF as Waylon Mercy, a gentle-sounding southerner whose politeness was a cover for a brutal style in the ring. With his cryptic promos including his catchphrase, "Lives are gonna be in Waylon Mercy's hands," you know what I mean? Spivey quickly won over the fans, but injuries forced a retirement in 1995. Number 9. Tatanka. Native American Chris Chavis earned well-deserved praise for his work on the independent circuit as War Eagle. Chavis's WWF career featured him in an exciting win streak that went on from 1991 to 1993. Along the way, Chavis battled superstars ranging from glorified enhancement talent such as Skinner to Intercontinental Champion Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 9. Tatanka utilized a combination of power and speed, evoking memories of other Native American stars such as Wahoo McDaniel, but more in line with contemporary sensibilities of Native Americans, although it didn't stop WWF from running an angle where Tatanka's feathers were stolen by the model Rick Martel. Tatanka's winning ways came to an end at the hands of newcomer Ludwig Borga, but he remained a mid to upper card star in the WWF, ultimately turning heel and joining Ted DiBiase's $1 Million Corporation. Despite a successful career, Tatanka walked away from the squared circle, reportedly wanting to focus on family and introspection. Number 10. Bertha Fey. The WWF's women's division was a mess with few women wrestlers standing out. One of them was Alundra Blaze, the WWF champion who stunned the world when she showed up on Monday Nitro and dumped the women's belt in the garbage. The other was Bertha Fey, aka Rhonda Singh, a Stampede wrestling star who made it big on the international scene, including time in Canada, Puerto Rico, and Japan. The WWF brought Singh into the company in 1995, repackaging her into the comedy character Bertha Fey, a trailer park denizen who dated WWF manager Harvey Whippleman. While Fey had a good program with Blaze, including a tenure as WWF Women's Champion, women's wrestling was at its nadir in the promotion, and Fey had little quality competition to work with. Had she stayed around a few years later, she could have been a tremendous star alongside women such as Lita, Trish Stratus, and Molly Holly. However, Bertha Fey left the WWF after asking for her release in 1996 and died in 2001 from a heart attack at age 40. Well guys, there you have it, 10 underrated stars from the new generation. Are there any you think belong on this list? Be sure to leave your comments and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any great videos.